And the most sophisticated negotiators in the world do not come out with browbeating, coercive tactics and strategies at that stage. They come out with two skills. They come up with psychological and behavioural skills that do two things, would be a better way of putting that. One, problem-solving skills, and secondly, helpful skills. I want to solve the problem, but I want to do it in a way that helps this relationship. That doesn't mean I become a doormat, it just means I become open. Because if these conflicts keep happening like this, then there's no chance we can solve this issue, no chance we can build our relationship. But if in the process of finding the overlap where it exists, negotiating that range so it overlaps and we can get an agreement, if in that process the other party learns to respect me and I open my mind to find means and ways and reasons to respect the other party, now we've got the basis of a relationship. And that relationship means business. Don't forget that one. It's the theme of the conference, of course. Finally, there are two aspects of conflict, and conflict's not bad in the right aspect or the right context. The first aspect of conflict is what we call warranted conflict. Warranted conflict is about issues and problems. Unwarranted conflict is the one that creeps in and destroys relationships. Unwarranted conflict is about personality differences, difference of attitude, defensiveness, sensitivity because someone offended us and all this sort of thing. We should always aim to have conflict dealt with at the warranted level. You could have the toughest debate and negotiation on the planet about a warranted conflict. If you manage the unwarranted conflict by your helpful problem-solving style and using all your best behavioural skills, you'll still end up with a fantastic relationship at the end of the day. And that's why I say negotiation, when you do it, make sure you mean business. Because if you mean business in negotiation, you will mean to build that relationship. Because it's the relationship that builds business in your meetings and events industry, practice and whatever you do. Alrighty. Let's have a look to see if there's anything better or anything to finish off with. And I will finish off now because I didn't want this to be much more than about 25 to 30 minutes. We're heading to there now. In any negotiation, you'll come across three types of in a relationship, in any communication. Communication styles roughly fall into three categories, is what I'm saying. One is the non-assertive style, the other is an assertive style, the third is an aggressive style. Now, we all know the aggressive style. The aggressive style of communicator tells us what we should do, must do, ought to do. The aggressive side, when they don't like what we're doing, becomes sarcastic. They put us down, they marginalise us, they use a scornful tone of voice. Now, we must understand that the standard reaction to that sort of behaviour, if you're a non-assertive person or if you're having a tough day and having difficulty saying in assertive mode, will be to react to it, to become defensive to it, to be offended by it, and then to react to it in much the same way. And I can tell you, all the experience and learning in the world in this field doesn't make you exempt from falling into that situation from time to time. I know I do. What we need to do is we need to understand that a person who's an aggressive person has very little respect for the person they deal with, regardless of how they express they might have. They also have two other things. Generally speaking, they have very low self-confidence and very low self-esteem. So the best way to deal with them is not to become defensive and reactive. The best way is to work on ways of building their confidence and building their self-esteem so that they see a need to respect or identify, to recognise that this person's treating them in a way that they were looking to be treated, but they haven't much in their life, perhaps as a kid, etc. So by being consistently attentive to those needs, you will find they are more likely to come out of that mood and come towards you. Now, look, I'm not impractical. There are people who are just aggressive and they're not going to change and you have to take a hard line with them. But do it in an assertive way, not in an aggressive way yourself, would be my advice. Quite often when you get an extremely aggressive person, some people will find them intimidating. And if you are a non-assertive person, you will tend to go into your shell, not say much, etc. Now, people who consistently do that will find they don't get what they want. People who consistently do that possibly can be people with a low self-esteem and a low confidence themselves. Quite often we'll see a person who doesn't say much and doesn't defend their position in any way at all, and we'll think, oh, they must have a lack of confidence. It's no different from the aggressive person. They're always also suffering from a lack of confidence. What we need to do is to develop an assertive style of communication. The non-assertive person has little self-respect. The aggressive person has little respect for someone else. The assertive style says, I respect myself and my position because I've thought it through thoroughly, but I also respect the position of the other party, and I'm going to honour them as well as me. That means they don't walk over me, I don't walk over them. This is a relationship basis. Most important thing, in anything you're going to say or do in a negotiation or in communication in a relationship, any relationship, the assertive style has one thing that marks it apart from the others. Before it does or says anything that's likely to be too confrontational, the assertive person says to himself, do I have the right to do or say what I'm about to do or say? And if you think that through and the answer comes up yes, then go right ahead and do it using your assertive style. Your assertive style uses I language. When you put your proposal in that way, I feel offended because it attacks me, because I sense it's attacking me personally or whatever it might be, rather than you never do, and if you talk to me like that, I'm never going to talk. That just takes on an aggressive form. It's always best to talk in I talk. When you do this, I feel like that. Now the other person's then given a choice. You're not blaming them for anything, you're just saying when you do this as a consequence, the underlying message is, but if you keep doing it and I keep feeling like this, we're not going to come to agreement because I'm not going to be in the position where I'll want to be doing business with you. But it's not aggressive, it's assertive, and it's the best position from which to negotiate. Well, we covered a lot more in detail in the time that I had with you at the MEA, but I'm going to have to leave it here for the moment. We're at the end of time. What we're talking about here is negotiation in a way that means business. Because when negotiation means business for your meetings business, it means you're achieving what you went to the conference for, you're achieving what you're in your practice for. Best of luck. I look forward to hearing from you at some time in the future. If you have any questions, info@alanpatching.com. I'd be happy to answer them direct. Thank you for coming to the conference. I know you would have had a great time. It was a great event. And thank you for listening here.